It's 2015, so what better time to take a look back at the best games of last year? Yes, it's time for my top 10 games of 2014. Kicking off the list, it's a deceptively simple but addictive game, Luftrausers. You play as an airplane soaring through the skies and blowing stuff up, and that's pretty much it for the gameplay. The thing is, like all Vlambeer games, that core bit of gameplay has been sweetly tuned so that just a quick couple of minutes of play can easily turn into half an hour of blowing stuff up. It's got a load of customizations for your plane, with each one having an effect on the epic soundtrack, and enemies that get harder and more fun to destroy as you go. Well worth a play, check it out. Next up is the game that broke Kickstarter by raising ridiculous monies. It's Broken Age Part 1. A modern version of the classic point-and-click adventure games, the game looks beautiful and it tells a great story featuring two interesting characters. A young girl in a whimsical fantasy world and a young boy living on a spaceship.
Space Weaver, can you take me here?
The game's really fun, has an awesome voice cast and ends on a cliffhanger that I've been waiting almost a year to see resolved. Get a move on, Double Fine. At 8, it's Alien Isolation. Set aboard a semi-abandoned spaceship, you basically run around in the dark, hiding from vicious aliens and creepy androids, and try not to cry too much in terror. The game does a great job of nailing the atmosphere of the first Alien film, and looks generally fantastic too. Sure, it's just all dark corridors, but it's got a great 80s sci-fi vibe that I really enjoyed, and I only had to hide behind the couch like 4 times. Aliens are scary. Sneaking into number 7, it's Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes. I've been a huge Metal Gear Solid fan since the first game on the PlayStation 1, so a new Metal Gear game is always going to excite me. So much so that I even played through the whole game here on the channel. Sure, it's short and it's sort of like an extended demo for the main game, but it was fun trying out the new systems and the game looks damn good, even on PlayStation 3. Plus it has a pretty crazy outro sequence that did a great job of making me want Metal Gear Solid 5 even more. Even though Kiefer Sutherland is nowhere near as awesome as David Hayter doing the voice work.
Time to go.
Proving that you don't need a sword to be a badass knight, it's Shovel Knight. Shovel Knight is a retro-style platformer that takes inspiration from the NES classics and brings some modern sensibilities together to make an instant hit. It nails the style absolutely perfectly, and from gameplay to graphics to epic soundtrack, it all just feels so much fun to play. And who can argue with a hero who spends half the game digging things up and still makes the game feel fun? If you're in the market for a great 2D platformer, I definitely recommend you go pick it up. Or you know, you could wait for a new platformer that's being made by a pretty cool guy. Pardon loss. Oh sorry, this cold is really playing up on me. At 5, it's a remix / expansion of a Flash game. It's Binding of Isaac Rebirth. Set in a super disgusting and insane underground world, the game plays like a cross between a twin-stick shooter and a 2D Zelda games, and it's a bundle of fun. Every run is randomized and different, and you never know what you're going to get. From firing bloody tears to lasers to poops that explode, the game shows a lot of character to the sheer amount of different abilities you can gather, ensuring that no 2 runs ever feel the same. It's super simple, but super addictive. Speaking of randomized games though, at number 4 it's underground exploration game Spelunky. What's that I hear some of you say? Spelunky didn't come out this year? Sure, but I never played it before it appeared in my PlayStation Plus collection and dominated my Vita for months. It's probably my most played game this year, and this is my list, damn it. Anyways, why is it here? Well, much like Binding of Isaac, every run in the game is randomized and different, meaning every time you start you face a completely new adventure, and each adventure is hard, really hard. You will die a lot. But the best thing is you never die because the game screws you over. It's always your own fault. I don't even want to talk too much about what's in the game, because learning is part of the game's charm. So just take my word for it, go play it, and it will suck you in before you know it. Damn you old mech! At 3, it's the LEGO game this list deserves, but not the one it needs right now, except it's still here. It's LEGO Batman 3! The latest entry in the LEGO series of games, the game features a ridiculous cast of DC characters, and best of all for me, loads of stuff about the Green Lantern characters. I've already covered a lot of why I enjoyed this game in the review I made, so if you want to hear more you can check that out, but I'll sum it up here by saying that it doesn't exactly break the LEGO games mold, but it's a mold I like and there's plenty of fun to be had here. Plus it's Batman, how can you lose? I'm Batman. At number 2, it's a crew of lewd American boys. It's South Park, The Stick of Truth. Probably the best ever conversion of a TV show into a game is right here. It looks just like the TV show and plays basically like a really long episode. The game features callbacks to many great South Park moments, but doesn't just rehash them in an obvious way. It adds a fresh spin to everything, and you end up with one of the funniest games I've played in years. If you've ever enjoyed a show, you'll be guaranteed to find something you'll enjoy here. And while the gameplay isn't exactly the hardest, it's a lot of fun and keeps you engaged throughout. If nothing else, you get to watch Butters get repeatedly beaten, and that's always good, right? Here we are at number 1 on the list. Flying in from the faraway land of New Zealand, it's Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor. Yes, a Lord of the Rings game that is actually good. Who would have believed it? The game is basically a mashup of Assassin's Creed exploration with the Batman Arkham combat thrown together into a fun jumble. The story is pretty so-so, and if that was all there was to the game, it'd be enjoyable, but definitely not the best game of the year. The thing that makes it so good though is the Nemesis system. Every time you take out a leader orc, it shifts the balance of power in the game, creating new powerful foes and making the world become moulded by your actions. As you progress further through the game, some enemies will return, remembering you and how you killed them. I killed one guy a few times with arrows to the head, and then eventually he turned up with metal plating to protect his head, making me have to mix up my strategies of how I was able to take him down. This same story gets repeated and expanded all over the game, making everything feel more personal and lifting the game to be my favourite of the year. It's a system that makes you want to see it in other games. A GTA style game where you can fight with gangs with this system would be awesome to play. It doesn't hurt that the game looks great too, especially once you get to the second half and everything isn't just coated in mud. And I love exploring and fighting things like Batman, so what's the downside here? The Nemesis system raises the bar for open world games and is what makes Shadow of Mordor my favourite game of 2014. Now let's hope that 2015 has some games that aren't just completely broken. I'm looking at you, Assassin's Creed Unity. Thanks for watching the video everyone. These are my favourites of the year, but let me know in the comments what yours were too. Far Cry 4 should probably be up there too, but I haven't had a chance to play it yet. Far Cry 3 was great and everyone tells me 4 is more of the same, so consider that an honorary inclusion. Here's another video you can check out if you like. Maybe you should probably hit that like button down there too and subscribe if you haven't already. Yeah! See you awesome people soon for more gaming goodness.